The bank statement trembles in my hand like a living thing. I can't tear my eyes from the numbers that blur and swim before me. $5. Just $5 each month for the past 2 years. My pulse hammers in my ears as I stand frozen in my parents' living room. The familiar scent of my mother's cinnamon potpourri, suddenly cloying and suffocating. We have proof now. You've been lying to us. My mother's voice slices through the silence, each word precise and cutting. I blink, trying to make sense of what I'm seeing. This can't be right. My father jabs his finger at the paper, the force of it making me flinch. We thought you were sending $1,500, but you've only been giving us pennies. In the corner of the room, Chloe leans against the wall, arms crossed over her designer blouse. Something flickers across her face, not quite guilt, not quite triumph. She examines her manicured nails, the diamond tennis bracelet, catching the light as she turns her wrist. I don't understand, I whisper, but a cold realization is already seeping into my bones. The memory of midnight shifts at the warehouse hits me with physical force. For 2 years, I've been working overnight at Meridian Food Distribution, managing inventory while the rest of the world sleeps. The fluorescent lights burning my eyes, the constant ache in my lower back, the protein bars I choke down during 10-minute breaks because there's no time for real meals. And weekends, God, the weekends driving for that delivery service I hate, smiling at strangers who never look me in the eye while I place their groceries on their porches. All to scrape together that $1,500 each month. I've been sending the money. My voice shakes, but I force the words out. Every month, for years. My mother scoffs. The sound so familiar it makes my chest ache. The same dismissive noise she made when I got that scholarship in high school, the one that wasn't quite enough, that still left me needing loans and 3 part-time jobs to make it through college. Don't lie to us, we can see the transactions. She gestures to the statement like it's irrefutable evidence of my betrayal. I was 12 when they converted my bedroom into Chloe's creative space. She needed room for her dance equipment, they explained. The couch became my bed for the next 6 years. My homework spread across the coffee table each night, gathered up before anyone else woke. You owe us $30,000 in back payments, my father announces, arms folded across his chest. The same posture he took when I asked for help with college tuition. We need to save for Chloe's future, he'd said. She has real potential. I look to Chloe now, seeking what? Shock? Confusion. But she glances away, suddenly fascinated by something outside the window. And that's when I know. It was her idea, 2 years ago. Let's each send them $1,500 per month to show appreciation, she'd suggested over brunch. They've done so much for us. Her eyes wide, sincere. I'd nodded, squeezed my budget tighter, picked up that second job. And every month since, I've transferred the money to the account she provided. It's easier this way, she'd insisted. I'll make sure they get it. Something hardens inside me, like concrete setting. Show me Chloe's transfers, I say, my voice steadier than I feel. My parents exchange a look I can't quite read. Chloe's been supporting us more than enough, my mother says, her tone shifting to the soft, protective one she reserves exclusively for my sister. I straighten my shoulders, feeling something unfamiliar, the shape of my spine, when it's not bent under the weight of everyone else's expectations. Show me her transfers, right now. Rachel, my father warns, but I'm already reaching for my phone. I need to check something, I say, pulling up my banking app. Chloe suddenly pushes off from the wall. I just remembered I need to make an important call, she announces, her voice too bright, too brittle. Work thing. Can't wait. She's out of the room before anyone can respond, her footsteps quick on the hardwood floor. I scroll through my transaction history, each $1,500 withdrawal a record of my sacrifice. 2 years of transfers to the account Chloe assured me would help our parents. 2 years of double shifts, and cancelled plans and declining invitations, because I couldn't afford to go out. 2 years of falling into bed, exhausted, only to wake up and do it all again. And now they're standing here telling me I've given them nothing. I look up from my phone, meeting first my father's gaze, then my mother's. They stare back, their expressions an identical blend of entitlement and accusation. I have proof, I say quietly, of every payment. My mother waves her hand dismissively. Just show us the account number you sent it to. I turn my phone screen toward them, displaying the long string of numbers. My father squints at it, then his face darkens. That's not our account. A wave of heat rushes up my neck and into my face, as the pieces lock together with sickening clarity. The realization spreads across my features, like a slow burn. Chloe's new car, the luxury vacations documented on her Instagram, the designer clothes, her perfectly decorated apartment. All appeared shortly after our agreement to support our parents. Outside I hear the rumble of Chloe's luxury SUV starting up, the one she bought last year. A great deal I couldn't pass up, she'd explained. With my money. What would you do if you discovered your family had been accusing you of financial neglect while someone else was stealing the money you sacrificed everything to provide? As the engine of Chloe's car fades into the distance, I already know my next move will shake the foundation of my family's comfortable existence. I burst through the front door, my heart hammering against my ribs as I scan the driveway. Chloe's SUV is still there, engine idling. She's hunched over the steering wheel, furiously typing on her phone. My legs carry me forward with a strength I didn't know I possessed. Chloe! I slap my palm against her driver's side window. The bank statements on my phone screen illuminate my face in the gathering dusk. She jumps, dropping her phone into her lap. For a moment, her eyes widen with genuine fear before she composes herself and rolls down the window a cautious few inches. Where's the money, Chloe? My voice doesn't sound like my own. Where's the $36,000 I've sent over the last 2 years? Her manicured fingers grip the steering wheel tight enough to blanch her knuckles. Rachel, you're being ridiculous. But her voice wavers, the confidence slipping. I shove my phone through the window gap. Look at these transfers, every month. $1,500 to the account number you gave me. I screw the transaction history. A digital record of my sacrifice, the same account number you said would help our parents. Something cracks in her perfect facade. Her shoulders slump, the designer sunglasses perched on her head sliding forward slightly. I needed it for my influencer career, she whispers, not meeting my eyes. The clothes, the trips though. You know how expensive it is to keep up appearances. Nobody follows someone who wears the same outfit twice. A laugh escapes me, too sharp and hollow to contain. You told them I wasn't sending anything? Chloe finally looks at me, and what I see in her eyes chills me more than her words. There's no remorse there, only calculation. They believe whatever I tell them, she says with a small shrug. They always have. The casual cruelty of it knocks the wind from my lungs. I step back, suddenly needing distance between us. You're my sister, I say, the words barely audible. Chloe revs the engine. And you're the sucker who's been paying my bills. She shifts into reverse. Good luck convincing them it wasn't your fault. I watch her luxury SUV. My luxury SUV. Really back down the driveway, before I turn toward the house. My parents are still inside, still waiting for their pound of flesh. For the first time in my life, I walk toward them, not with my shoulders hunched in anticipation of their disappointment, but with my spine straight and purpose in every step. The living room falls silent as I enter. My father sits in his recliner, arms crossed. My mother perches on the edge of the sofa, her face a mask of practiced concern. Where's Chloe going, she asks. I hold up my phone, my evidence displayed in neat, undeniable rows. I have proof of every $1,500 payment I sent to Chloe's account. I place the phone on the coffee table between us for 2 years, every month. They stare at the screen, at the numbers that can't be explained away. My father picks up the phone, squints at the transaction history. I just spoke to Chloe outside. I continue, my voice steadier than I feel. She admitted taking all of it. I wait for the explosion, the outrage on my behalf, the parental fury at such a betrayal. Instead, my mother's expression softens, her head tilting in that particular way she reserves exclusively for my sister. She's still young, she says with a sigh. She makes mistakes. My father places my phone back on the table, careful not to crack the screen that displays his golden child's crime. It's just money, he says with a dismissive wave. Why are you being so dramatic? The floor seems to tilt beneath me. Dramatic? She stole $36,000 from me. If you had just sent it to our account, my mother interjects, this wouldn't have happened. I stare at them, these strangers who raised me. Why would I send it to Chloe's account in the first place? My father's face flushes. Because of the social security benefits, of course. And there it is, the final piece of the puzzle, slotting into place with sickening clarity. You wanted the money hidden, I say slowly, the realization dawning. From the government. My mother waves her hand, the gesture eerily similar to Chloe's shrug in the car. Everyone does it. You had me unwittingly commit tax fraud. The words taste bitter on my tongue. My father stands, his height no longer intimidating me the way it once did. Either pay the $30,000 you owe us, or we'll disown you. The threat hangs in the air between us. And you can forget about Grandpa's inheritance, my mother adds. Her final card played. I walk out without another word, my phone clutched in my hand. On the driveway, I punch in a familiar number, my best friend's contact, lighting up the screen. My voice breaks as she answers. Jen, I need help. A text from my supervisor buzzes through. You okay? Noticed you've been exhausted from those extra shifts. As I climb into my car, Mrs. Perlman, my parents' elderly neighbor, catches my eye from her porch. She gives me a small, knowing nod. You've been carrying them for years, Rachel, she calls softly. I've watched it happen. The engine turns over, and I sit there, hands gripping the wheel where Chloe's had been minutes before. Through the windshield, I can see my parents framed in the living room window, already on their finesse no doubt spinning the story to relatives, casting me as the villain. For the first time, I don't care what story they tell. Their power over me evaporates with each second that passes, like morning dew under a strengthening sun. Family loyalty, or self-respect, which would you choose? I sit at the edge of a decision that will redefine my entire future. But my family has one more devastating card to play. I stare at my phone screen, the fifth voicemail from my mother in 3 days. Her voice wavers with practiced emotion. After all we've done for you, Rachel, how could you abandon your family like this? My thumb hovers over the delete button, but I save it instead. Evidence. That's what Marissa, my new therapist, suggested I collect. So far, I have 17 voice messages, 32 texts, and 6 missed calls from relatives I haven't spoken to in years. Dad has been busy. My phone buzzes with a notification. Chloe has posted on Instagram again. A soft focused selfie, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. The caption reads, "Sometimes the most toxic people are the ones you've given everything to." I screenshot it, add it to my growing digital folder labeled Family Response, and block her account. 3 days ago, I compiled every bank statement from the past 2 years. Each $1,500 payment highlighted in yellow, a timeline of my sacrifice. I spread them across my kitchen table, took photos from every angle. Then I forwarded everything to the financial advisor I met yesterday. In my professional opinion, he said, leaning forward in his leather chair, you've been manipulated into a tax evasion scheme. Your parents were receiving unreported income through your sister. I wasn't surprised, but hearing it spoken aloud made my stomach clench. What should I do? I asked. Document everything, distance yourself financially, and consider whether you want to consult a lawyer. He slid a business card across his desk. This woman specializes in financial abuse cases. The card sits on my countertop now, next to the brochure from last night's support group for adult children of manipulative parents. 6 strangers sitting in folding chairs, nodding as I spoke. Validation from people who understand without explanation. My phone rings. Unknown number. Rachel? It's Janet, your mother's friend. Her voice drips with concern. Your parents told me what's happening. They're devastated, honey. They just want to talk. I press my back against the kitchen counter, feeling the cool edge against my spine. Did they tell you Chloe stole $36,000 from me? A pause. Well, they said there was some confusion about the money, but… No confusion. Theft. My voice sounds strange in my ears, steady firm. And now they're demanding I pay them $30,000 more. Family is complicated, Rachel. But they're still your parents. I thank her for her concern, and end the call. Another name for my documentation list. 3 hours later, I pull into the restaurant parking lot. Neutral territory, I'd insisted. Not their house, where every room holds memories of my invisible childhood. My parents' silver sedan already waits in the corner spot, exactly where they always park far enough from other cars to avoid dawdings. Some habits never change. Chloe sits at the table with them, her golden hair swept into an elegant updo. They've positioned her between them, a united front. 3 menus untouched. They've waited for me. How considerate. Rachel. My father nods as I slide into the empty chair. We're glad you agreed to meet. My mother reaches across the table, stopping short of touching my hand when I don't extend it. We just want to work this out, sweetheart. I notice the manila folder beside my father's water glass. What's that? He clears his throat, straightens his tie's boardroom habit. We've been thinking about how to resolve this situation. My mother jumps in. We know you're upset about the misunderstanding with Chloe, but… It wasn't a misunderstanding, I interrupt. She stole from me, and you defended her. Chloe, at least, has the decency to study her napkin. My father slides the folder toward me. We've put together a payment plan. He flips it open, revealing a typed document with highlighted sections. For the $30,000 you still owe us, plus continuing the monthly $1,500 going forward. I stare at the paper. Neat columns detail a 5-year plan to extract money from me, after I've already given them 2 years of double shifts and missed opportunities. This seems fair, my mother adds when I remain silent. We're not asking for everything at once. How generous. Behind them, a waiter delivers food to another table. The scent of garlic and butter wafts over. My stomach growls I forgot to eat lunch again. A habit, from all those months of cutting expenses to afford the payments. I place my fingertips on the edge of the document and slowly slide it back across the table. The paper makes a soft whisper against the tablecloth. No. The word hangs between us, simple and complete. My father blinks. What do you mean no? I mean no. I push my chair back and stand, looking down at them for the first time I can remember. I'm not paying you anything. Rachel Elizabeth Parker. My father's voice drops an octave, the tone he used when I was a child, and dared to disobey. Do you understand what you're doing? I tuck my purse strap over my shoulder. Perfectly. My mother's eyes widen, her hand flying to her throat, fingers grasping for the pearl necklace she always touches when upset. After everything we've done for you? The sacrifices we've made? What sacrifices, Mum? Name one. The silence stretches between us. I've supported you for years, I continue, my voice steady. I worked 2 jobs while Chloe spent my money on designer clothes and luxury vacations. Chloe's head snaps up. That's not fair. I needed nothing. I cut her off. You needed nothing from me. You took everything. My father's face darkens. Your grandfather would be ashamed of you right now. The words are meant to cut deep, to slice into the one familial relationship I cherished. Instead, they clarify everything. Grandpa taught me to stand up for myself. I feel my lips curve into a small smile. This is me doing exactly that. I turn and walk toward the exit, each step lighter than the last. Behind me, chairs scrape against tile. Voices rise in protest, but I don't look back. The evening air hits my face as the restaurant door swings closed behind me. In the parking lot, I slide into my car and sit motionless for a moment. My hands should be shaking. My heart should be racing. Instead, I take a deep breath that fills my lungs completely, the first one in years that doesn't feel like I'm drowning. I pull out my phone and open the family group chat. Years of messages asking when I'll visit, when I'll send money, when I'll help with Chloe's new business venture. I delete the chat, then silence notifications from their individual numbers. The engine purrs to life. As I pull out of the parking lot, I catch my reflection in the rearview mirror. Something has changed in my face. The tension around my eyes has softened, my jaw no longer clenched. And there, it is, a smile that starts small, then spreads until I barely recognize myself. I drive away from the restaurant, from the weight of expectations I've carried for decades. When you've been someone's ATM for years, what happens when you finally cancel their access? My family is about to find out exactly what life looks like without my financial support. But are they truly ready to face the consequences of their actions? I'm not sure I care anymore. The security guard's walkie-talkie crackles as he walks beside me through the Meridian warehouse. His presents a solid, reassuring barrier. Wasn't my idea, but Javier's. My supervisor noticed my pale face when I mentioned my parents might stop by. Your folks don't just stop by places, Rachel, he had said, dark eyes knowing. Not after what you told me. Now, the guard's boots echo against the concrete floor as we round a corner, and I see them, my mother's spine ramrod straight, my father's arms crossed, both stationed by the reception desk like sentries. That's them, I murmur. The receptionist catches my eye, relief washing over her face. They've been here 20 minutes, she mouths silently. My mother spots me first. Rachel, finally, we've been waiting forever. This is a place of business, I say, my voice steadier than I expected. Not somewhere you can just show up. We wouldn't have to if you'd answer your phone. My father's voice booms, drawing stares from passing co-workers. The security guard steps forward. Sir, I need you to lower your voice. Who's this? My father's eyebrows shoot up. You need protection from your own parents now? Mr. and Mrs. Parker, the guard says. Your daughter has requested that any family discussions happen off company property. I can escort you to the visitor parking lot. My mother's face contorts. We raised you better than this. I have a meeting in 5 minutes. The lie slides easily from my lips. And this isn't appropriate. Nothing about your behavior is appropriate, my father hisses. Our lawyer will be contacting you about the money you owe us. The word lawyer sends a cold shiver through me, but I keep my expression neutral. 3 weeks ago, it would have worked. The mere suggestion of legal action would have sent me scrambling to fix things, to smooth everything over. But that was before I knew the truth. I'll look forward to his call, I say, then nod to the guard. Please escort my parents out. I turn and walk away, the weight of their stares burning between my shoulder blades. The lawyer's letter sits on my kitchen counter, its official letterhead gleaming under the fluorescent light. I've read it 7 times, each paragraph more ridiculous than the last. The phrases jump out at me. Emotional distress, elder financial abuse, oral contract, and the most absurd, $30,000 in compensatory damages. My phone buzzes. Another relative, this time my mother's cousin in Phoenix. I answer with the same script I've used all week. This is between my parents and me. I appreciate your concern, but please respect that boundary. Her response is predictable. Family doesn't set boundaries, Rachel. Family helps each other. Goodbye, Aunt Linda. I hang up before she can continue. My laptop screen flickers with a notification. Chloe has posted again. Despite my better judgment, I click. Her face fills the screen, carefully crafted tears glistening. Behind her, I can see the luxury apartment I helped pay for. When someone you've supported your whole life just abandons you. Her voice breaks perfectly on cue. The betrayal is unbearable. I slam the laptop shut and reach for my phone, navigating to her profile. My thumb hovers over the block button for just a second before pressing down firmly. Done. The text arrives during my lunch break. Mortgage payment due notice. Your father says it's your fault. It's from a number I don't recognize, but the message is clear. They're escalating. Beside me, Annika pushes half her sandwich toward me. Eat, she orders. You've lost weight. I'm fine, I say automatically. Liar. She nudges the sandwich closer. Mark has started a rotation schedule, by the way. Someone from our team will walk with you to your car every night until this blows over. The knot in my throat threatens to choke me. You guys don't have to. We want to. She cuts me off. Nobody messes with our ops manager. My phone buzzes again. A text from an unknown number. Chloe's card got declined at Nordstrom. Full meltdown in the store. Video all over Twitter. Is this what you wanted? What's that look? Annika asks. Nothing, I say, but can't help a small smile forming. Just consequences finally happening. My therapist's office smells like lavender and old books. Dr. Mehta watches me over her glasses as I pace. My father called yesterday. Just kept repeating temporary financial assistance, like it was a magic spell that would make me forget everything. And how did you respond? Her voice is calm, neutral. I told him I could recommend a financial advisor. The memory brings a surprising rush of pride. Then my mother called an hour later saying she wants to fix our relationship. Dr. Mehta nods. And how do you feel about that? Like it's the first time she's acknowledged we have a relationship beyond my bank account. I stop pacing, sinking into the chair across from her. But it's too late. They're only reaching out because they need something. You're making extraordinary progress, Rachel. She leans forward slightly. Setting boundaries with family is one of the hardest things we can do. It doesn't feel like progress. It feels like, I search for the word, selfishness. Is it selfish for a person who's been underwater to finally come up for air? I consider this, thinking of the dinner I have planned tonight. My first date in over a year, with someone who asked 0 questions when I mentioned difficult family dynamics. Just nodded and said, I get it. My boundaries are important to me too. My co-workers set up a buffer zone at work, I tell her. And my friend Maya offered her spare room if things get too intense. You've created a support network of people who respect you, Dr. Mehta says. That's not selfishness, that's self-preservation. In the grocery store, I freeze mid-aisle. 2 aisles over, my parents' voices carry arguing about money. If you hadn't spent the Crestview funds on Chloe's ridiculous business expenses. My mother's voice rises. Don't start with me, Linda. This is your fault for letting her get away with. I abandon my cart, slipping out the side entrance, heart hammering. In my car, I catch sight of myself in the rearview mirror and realize I'm not panicking. I'm calm. Almost. Relieved. My phone pings with a message from a blocked number that somehow got through. I've always seen how they treated you. This is Aunt Sarah. If you need someone who understands, I'm here. When the bank of Rachel closes forever, her family faces a reality they never prepared for. But as they struggle, I'm thriving in ways I never imagined possible. The weight on my shoulders lessens with each passing day, each enforced boundary, each moment I choose myself. And for the first time in my adult life, I can finally breathe. The email from HR sits open on my screen. The words promotion and 15% increase, pulsing with possibility. My finger hovers over the accept button, a strange hesitation gripping me. Not because I don't want it, God, I've earned it, but because for the first time, I don't have to calculate how much of this raise my family will consume. I press accept, and a rush of vertigo sweeps through me. My money will be my money. You deserve this, says Melanie, my cubicle neighbor who's become more than just a work friend these past months. Seriously, Rachel, nobody works harder. I nod, still staring at the confirmation message. It doesn't feel real. Which part? The promotion, or keeping your own paycheck? My laugh catches me by surprise, sharp and genuine. Both. My new apartment smells of fresh paint and possibility. Sunlight streams through windows twice the size of my old place, illuminating the hardwood floors I couldn't stop admiring when I signed the lease. The realtor had looked concerned when I kept running my hands over the smooth surface, but she couldn't understand what it meant, space that belonged only to me. I set down a box marked kitchen and pull out my phone. 3 missed calls from my mother. 1 from Chloe. A text from a number I don't recognize that starts with, "Your parents are having a really hard time." I delete them all without reading further, and instead open my therapy group chat. 7 other people who understand exactly what it means to break free from family financial exploitation. I type. Moving day. It feels like breathing for the first time. Responses flood in immediately, not with demands or guilt, but with celebration. With understanding. I'm hanging curtains when my phone buzzes with neighborhood alerts. A house for rent 3 streets over from my parents. The price tells the story their pride won't let them admit they've had to downsize. Dramatically. December brings string lights in my windows and a tiny tree on my coffee table. My first Christmas alone should feel hollow, but instead, it's peaceful. No performance of gratitude required. No calculated giving, based on who might give more back. My therapy journal sits open beside me, the total at the bottom of the page still shocking. $103,742. The amount I've given my family over the years, tracked through bank statements and careful reconstruction. Seeing it in black and white had made me physically ill during group therapy last week. You built your life around supporting them, my therapist had said. Now you get to build it around supporting yourself. The truth of those words settles into my bones as I sip hot chocolate and watch snow dust the railings of my balcony. I would never have allowed myself before. My phone lights up with an Instagram notification. Chloe's account, once filled with luxury vacations and designer clothes, now showcases budget-friendly finds and minimalist aesthetics. Her follower count has dropped by thousands. Without my money funding her influencer lifestyle, the carefully curated fantasy has crumbled. I scroll through comments from confused followers. What happened to your Range Rover? No winter vacation this year? The lie she's living is unraveling thread by thread. The hospital parking lot is crowded when I pull in. My father's text had been deliberately vague. Your mother's in the hospital, she's asking for you. No details about what happened, just the urgent demand for my presence. Inside, I find my mother sitting up in bed, looking pale, but hardly at death's door. My father paces beside her, his expression darkening when he sees me. Finally, he snaps. We've been waiting for hours. I glance at my watch. I came directly from work. What happened? My mother's hand flutters to her chest. My heart. The doctor says it's induced, from everything we've been going through. The guilt rises, automatic as breathing, but I push it back down. What did they diagnose specifically? My father jumps in. Does it matter? Your mother is suffering, Rachel. We're drowning in medical bills on top of everything else. And there, it is the real emergency. Not her health, but their wallet. I spoke with her doctor in the hall. Comes a voice behind me. Chloe steps into the room, designer sunglasses pushed up on her perfectly styled hair. It was a panic attack, not a heart attack. She's being discharged in an hour. Our eyes meet, and for a fleeting moment, I see something like respect flicker across her face-ish. Knows exactly what this is too. We still need help, my mother insists, her voice taking on the trembling quality she's perfected over the years. We're really suffering, Rachel. Chloe steps closer, lowering her voice. They are struggling. Dad had to take that retail job, and you know how he feels about that. She touches my arm. If anything happens to them because they can't afford their medication or something, it's on you. I look at her manicured hand on my sleeve. At the same bracelet she wore the day I discovered her theft. She's still wearing my sacrifice on her wrist. I can recommend a great financial counselor, I say, my voice steady. The one who helped me figure out how to recover from supporting all of you for years. My mother's face hardens. That's your response? Paperwork? You have the money. Chloe erupts, mask slipping. Why won't you help them? I meet her gaze directly. The same reason you spend $36,000 of my money on yourself. The silence that follows feels cleansing. I wish you all the best, I say, picking up my purse. I really do. I walk out of the hospital room, my steps lighter than when I entered. Behind me, I hear Chloe call my name once, but the sound fades as the door swings shut. Outside, snow has begun to fall, transforming the parking lot into something new and clean. I tilt my face up to feel the cold flakes against my skin, each one a tiny reminder that the weight I've carried for years is no longer mine to bear. What happens when the golden child, and parents who always took, suddenly have to stand on their own? As I build my best life, my family faces the consequences of years of exploitation. But is this truly the end of their story, or is there one last twist ahead? The corner office catches the afternoon light, turning everything golden. I trace my finger along the edge of my new desk reel cherry wood. Not the particle board I'd convinced myself was good enough for years. Family photos line the credenza, but not the faces most would expect. Kendra from accounting with her arm, slung over my shoulder at the company retreat. Marcus and his husband at their wedding, where I gave a toast that made everyone cry. My hiking group at Summit, faces flushed with accomplishment. Not a single blood relative among them. My chosen family. Rachel? My assistant pokes her head in. Your 3 o'clock cancelled, so you're free until tomorrow's budget meeting. I smile genuinely. Thanks, Ava. An early weekend. 1 year ago, this would have meant picking up an extra shift at the warehouse, or logging more delivery hours. Now, it means Alex and I can make our dinner reservation at that new bistro, maybe catch a movie after. He texted earlier, can't wait to see you tonight. Proud of everything you've accomplished this year. I run my thumb over my phone screen, still not quite believing someone can love me for who I am rather than what I provide. Dr. Meyer's words from our final therapy session last week echo in my mind. You've done the work, Rachel. You've reclaimed your worth outside of what you give to others. The support group meets tomorrow people with stories like mine, who found themselves emptied by family that treated them like ATMs. Now I mentor the newcomers, watching understanding dawn in their eyes when I say, your worth isn't measured by how much you give them. My journal sits open on my desk, today's entry beside one from exactly a year ago. The contrast is startling. Then, exhausted. Second job today. Mom called again about money, can't sleep. Now, realized today I hadn't thought about them in weeks. Breathed easier when I noticed that. Yesterday, Diane from marketing hovered in my doorway, twisting her wedding ring. My brothers expect me to bail them out again, she whispered. 5th time this year. I didn't offer money. Instead, I shared my therapist's contact information, a financial literacy workshop flyer, and the name of the boundary setting book that became my Bible. You can love them without bankrupting yourself, I told her. The words I wish someone had said to me years earlier. The letter from Chloe arrived 3 months ago. Working retail now, she wrote, finding herself. Parents downsized to a condo, adjusting to a simpler lifestyle. No apologies, just information, and a barely disguised hint about reconnecting. I never replied. The absence of guilt surprised me most. The crushing weight I'd carried for so long, suddenly gone. My phone buzzes. Mother. After a year of declining her calls, the sight of her name no longer accelerates my pulse. I tap decline without hesitation, sending a text instead. I wish you well, but my boundaries remain. Simple, direct, complete. Alex texts that he's downstairs. Friends are gathering at the restaurant celebration for my promotion. I grab my jacket, leaving the office without checking emails one last time or worrying about weekend work. My financial cushion is comfortable now. My emergency fund is for actual emergencies, not family ones. As the elevator descends, I catch my reflection in the polished doors. There's a woman who stands straight, whose smile reaches her eyes, whose laughter comes easily. A woman who discovered that sometimes the most loving choice for everyone is to walk away. The doors open to the lobby where Alex waits, his face lighting up when he sees me. For the first time in my life, each step feels like my own.
I stand frozen in my parents' elegant living room, unable to move, my phone clutched so tightly in my trembling hand that my knuckles have gone white. The text message from Ryan, Lucas's business partner, still glows on the screen. Contract canceled. Someone sent damaging information about Lucas's past. Need to talk. My father's grandfather clock ticks loudly in the silence, each sound marking another painful second of this nightmare. Tick, tick, tick. The rhythm I've known since childhood now feels like a hammer against my skull. Madison's laughter drifts in from the kitchen where she sits with our parents. The sound of it light and carefree makes my stomach twist. I've always envied how easily joy seems to come to her, how effortlessly she moves through life while I struggle for every bit of ground I gain. I glance up, trying to gather myself when my eyes drift to Madison's open laptop on the side table. The screen glows with a draft email still visible. Anonymous tip regarding Lucas Bennett's financial misconduct. My heart stutters as I take an unsteady step closer. There are documents attached, and as I lean in, I can see they contain twisted versions of Lucas's old business dispute information that only family would know. Information I shared with Madison over coffee just last month. The room suddenly feels too warm, too small. The pieces fall into place with sickening clarity. My own sister is actively sabotaging Lucas's business, my relationship, my chance at happiness. But why? The question burns through me even as the answer settles in my gut like a stone. She's always done this. My mind races back through the years. Me at 16, breathlessly showing my parents the art scholarship letter while they nodded distractedly, focused instead on Madison's perfect report card on the refrigerator. Madison receiving her $30,000 car while I got a $15 notebook that same birthday year. The memory of working 3 jobs to put myself through design school while Madison's Ivy League education was fully funded without question. The constant refrain echoes in my mind. Why can't you be more like your sister? I take a deep breath and step toward the kitchen, my voice wavering slightly as I call out, Madison, what are you doing? She turns to me with that practiced innocent expression I've seen 1,000 times before. Her blue eyes so like mine, and yet somehow always more dazzling to others widen slightly. What do you mean, sweetie? Mom and Dad look up from their coffee, their expressions immediately shifting from relaxed to guarded. The change is subtle but unmistakable. Hannah, my father says with a sigh, don't start causing problems again. Again. As if I'm always the one. As if I've ever been the one. A familiar knot forms in my stomach, the same feeling I had when no one believed me about Madison breaking my art project in 3rd grade, or when she told my prom date I was emotionally unstable hours before he was supposed to pick me up. It's the knot that forms when you're not believed, when your reality is constantly questioned, until you start questioning it yourself. I grip the door frame, steadying myself against the wave of old hurt threatening to pull me under. Lucas's words from last night float back to me. You deserve to be chosen first, Hannah. So simple, yet revolutionary to someone who's always been an afterthought. Something shifts inside me. It's subtle, a straightening of my shoulders, a slight lift of my chin. I look at my family gathered around the kitchen island, Madison at the center of their attention as always, and for the first time, I truly see them. See the dynamic that has shaped my entire life. See that nothing I do will ever change it. I step back quietly, unnoticed as I've always been. But this time, it's my choice to fade from view. I slip out of the house without confrontation, leaving them unaware of what I've discovered. In my car, I stare at the screenshot I took of Madison's email draft. My hands are steady now as I text Lucas. We need to talk. I know who sent the information. The engine hums to life, and I pull away from my parents' house. The family home grows smaller in my rearview mirror, and with each mile of distance, something new and unfamiliar unfurls inside me, the beginning of freedom. What would you do if you discovered your own flesh and blood was secretly destroying your chance at happiness? I've just found evidence of the ultimate betrayal, but my next move will change everything. And for once, I'm not looking back. I place my phone face down on Lucas's sleek glass desk, the screenshots of Madison's emails still burning in my mind. His office is a study in minimalism, bare white walls, a single potted succulent. Nothing to distract from the work at hand. Nothing to soften the blow I'm about to deliver. That's it. That's everything I found, I say, my voice steadier than I expected. Lucas nods slowly, his face a careful mask of calm. Only his hands betray him, knuckles whitening as he grips the edge of his desk. I've never seen him like this, so still yet so clearly containing a storm. A $500,000 contract, he finally says, each word precise and measured. Gone because of rumors about a business dispute that was settled years ago. My own sister did this to Judas. The guilt rises like bile in my throat. I brought this into her life. Lucas's eyes find mine, and the intensity in them makes me catch my breath. No, Hannah, you didn't do this. Madison did. Her name hangs between us. And suddenly the floodgates open. It's not just this, I say, the words tumbling out after years of silence. It's everything. It's always been everything with her. I sink into the chair across from him, memories surfacing like bruises under pressure. When I was in college, my friends suddenly started treating me differently. I found out later Madison had told them I was always jealous and competitive with her. I stare at my hands. The night before my interview with Barton Design, she accidentally spilled red wine all over my portfolio. I had to stay up all night recreating it. Lucas watches me, his silence encouraging. Every time something good happens, she's there with her backhanded compliments. When I landed the Morrison project, she told everyone, "It's amazing you got that job, they must really need someone inexpensive." The familiar hurt flares, but it's different, no illuminated by understanding rather than confusion. My phone buzzes against the desk. I flip it over to see my mother's name on the screen. Something in me already knows what this call will bring. I put it on speaker. "Hannah? Madison says you're upset with her. What did you do now?" My mother's voice fills the room, familiar in its automatic defense of my sister. I end the call without answering, only to have my phone immediately buzz with a voicemail notification. My father this time. "Your sister is just concerned about you rushing into things with Lucas. Call her and apologize for whatever this is about." I place the phone down gently, a strange calm washing over me. They've never been on my side, I say, the realization settling into my bones with the weight of absolute truth. Not once. Lucas stands, circles the desk, and takes my hand in his. With his other hand, he picks up his own phone and dials. "Alan? It's Lucas. I need you to draft a cease and desist letter immediately." His fingers tighten around mine. Yes, it's urgent. As he speaks with his lawyer, outlining Madison's actions with clinical precision, I feel something I've rarely experienced in my life, someone fighting for me. When he hangs up, I'm blinking back tears. "No one's ever done that before," I whisper. "No one's ever fought for me." "We're not going to let her destroy what we've built," he says simply. "Not our business, not our relationship, not our future." There's steel in his voice, and I draw strength from it even as my phone continues to light up with notifications. I open one, a screenshot from a mutual friend showing Madison's latest social media post. It's scary when someone isn't who they claim to be. Just looking out for those I care about. "It's getting worse," I say, scrolling through comments from family friends, people I've known my whole life, suddenly questioning Lucas's character. 3 clients canceled their contracts this morning, Lucas says quietly. Investors are getting nervous. My design clients are starting to message too. They've been hearing concerns. The tendrils of Madison's sabotage are reaching everywhere. That night, I stare at the cease and desist letter draft on Lucas's laptop. The formal legal language transforms my sister into the offending party. Tomorrow this will be sent to Madison Wilson, me own flesh and blood. My finger hovers over the trackpad, unable to close the document. Ryan says we might be able to salvage the Westlake contract. Lucas says from the doorway, his tie loosened after a long day of damage control. Not everything is lost. I turn to face him, my throat tight. Is this really what it's come to? Legal action against my own sister? Lucas sits beside me, his expression softening. "You don't have to do this if you're not ready." "That's just it," I say, my voice barely above a whisper. I think I am ready, and that terrifies me. The realization settles between us. What kind of person takes legal action against their own family? Am I becoming someone I don't recognize? But then I remember Madison's calculated betrayal, her years of undermining me, and my resolve hardens. "Send it," I say, closing the laptop with a quiet click. Lucas nods, understanding the weight of this decision. "I'll tell Alan first thing tomorrow." When he falls asleep beside me, his breathing deep and even, I lie awake, watching shadows move across the ceiling. This small victory, salvaging a contract, standing up for ourselves, comes at the cost of severing what remains of my family bonds. I've spent 3 decades trying to earn my place in a family that never made room for me. Now I'm choosing to step away from that struggle entirely. Sleep evades me, my mind torn between family loyalty and self-respect. Every time I close my eyes, I see Madison's face, hear my mother's voice automatically blaming me, feel my father's dismissal. Then I imagine Lucas losing everything he's built because of my sister's jealousy. By dawn, my pillow is damp with tears I didn't realize I was shedding, but my resolve remains unshaken. The next morning, I find myself pulling a box from the back of my closet. Inside are old journals, forgotten emails printed years ago, a record I kept without fully understanding why. I flip through pages documenting Madison's coincidental sabotage. An old email from Madison to her college roommate catches my eye. I can't stand that she might actually be happy. She doesn't deserve it after getting that scholarship I wanted. I place everything in a folder and write a single word on the tab. Truth. As I close the folder, a quiet determination settles over me like armor. I won't be erased anymore. I whisper to the empty room, my voice gaining strength with each word. Not by her. Not by anyone. Have you ever discovered someone close to you was secretly working against your happiness? What signs did you miss along the way? Hannah just uncovered years of sabotage from her own sister. Would you confront the betrayal or cut ties completely? I just want to protect you, Hannah. Madison's voice carries the perfect note of concern as she passes the mashed potatoes to Dad. The dining room feels stifling despite the high ceilings and open windows. The grandfather clock that witnessed my discovery of Madison's betrayal last week continues its steady rhythm in the background, a metronome counting moments of my diminishing patience. Madison has always looked out for you, Mom adds, nodding with such certainty that for a half second I almost believe her. Almost. Dad clears his throat. Lucas's business history is concerning. He doesn't meet my eyes, just cuts his roast beef into unnecessarily precise squares. I take a slow sip of water, steadying myself. 3 days ago, Madison texted Julia, my college roommate. I'm worried about Hannah rushing into things with Lucas. There are some red flags I can't ignore. Yesterday, it was my cousin Elaine. Today, Aunt Patricia called, her voice strained with manufactured worry about the man I love. The systematic dismantling of my happiness continues with surgical precision, and they all sit here, conspirators in matching sweaters, passing potatoes. My design studio feels like sanctuary after the suffocating family dinner. Afternoon light streams through the industrial windows, catching dust motes that dance around my drafting table. My fingers trail over the frames on the wall, the Architectural Digest feature on my restaurant renovation, the Peterson Award for Innovative Residential Design, the thank you letter from the Children's Hospital where I redesigned their cancer ward. I remember Professor Winters standing in this very spot 5 years ago, before the accolades, when this was just an empty rental with concrete floors and hope. You have rare talent, Hannah, she'd said, her voice firm as she studied my portfolio. Don't let anyone dim your light. My phone buzzes. It's Lucas. They've responded to the cease and desist, he says without preamble. His voice carries the controlled calm that I've come to recognize as anger. Madison claims complete innocence, says she's shocked and hurt by the accusation. I sit heavily in my desk chair, staring at the sketch of the mountain retreat I've been designing for us. 3 bedrooms. A studio overlooking the lake. Far from Madison. Far from all of them. She's never going to stop, I say, the realization settling in my chest like stone, unless I make her. Madison's apartment building gleams with the self-importance of new Montreal glass and polished concrete. The doorman recognizes me, nodding as I walk past. Miss Wilson, to see Miss Wilson, I say, my voice steadier than my heartbeat. The elevator rises 22 floors. I watch the numbers climb, each one bringing me closer to a confrontation 3 decades in the making. Madison opens her door with the confident swing of someone who expects only pleasant surprises. Her smile freezes when she sees my expression. Hannah, is everything okay? The concern in her voice sounds genuine, which makes everything worse. She's believed her own lies for so long. I step inside without waiting for an invitation. Her apartment is immaculate trim furniture, abstract art, views of the city that cost more than my first year of college tuition. I place my folder on her glass coffee table. "What's this?" she asks, the first note of unease creeping into her voice. "Evidence." I open the folder, removing screenshots of her email to Lucas's clients. The draft I found on her laptop. Phone records showing her calls to his former business partner. "I know what you did. I know what you've always done." Her face changes, the mask slipping like a curtain falling. The transformation is so complete, it's almost beautiful. "You don't deserve what you have," she says, her voice quiet but sharp as a blade. "You never did." I stand taller, something unfamiliar and powerful unfurling in my chest. "That's not for you to decide," I say. "Not anymore." The following week passes in a blur of strategic movement. Lucas arranges emergency meetings with clients, calmly presenting evidence of Madison's interference. My phone rings with unexpected support, Julia insisting on lunch, Professor Winters offering me partnership in her expanding firm, clients reaffirming their faith in my work. "Madison tried to turn me against you in college, you know," Julia tells me over salads at our favorite cafe. "She called me sophomore year. Said you were talking about me behind my back." I stare at her, memories rearranging themselves into a clearer picture. "Why didn't you tell me?" Julia shrugs. "I knew it wasn't true. I figured it was just sister stuff." She reaches across the table, squeezing my hand. "I never realized how systematic it was until you showed me those emails." Later that evening, surrounded by Lucas and 6 of our closest friends in his apartment, I find myself blinking back tears as he kneels before me. "I never thought I deserved this," I whisper as he slides the ring onto my finger, not flashy but elegant. "Perfect. We're having a private ceremony," Lucas announces to our gathering, his arm secure around my waist. "Only those who support our happiness." I meet each gaze in the room, feeling the weight of their genuine joy. "Only family," I add with a smile that holds new boundaries like armor. My childhood bedroom remains frozen in time cream walls, faded floral bedspread, bookshelves lined with art history volumes and design magazines. I remove my watercolors from the wall one by one, each revealing a slightly darker rectangle of paint beneath. My fingers trace the door frame, where pencil marks tracked our growth, Madison always taller, always ahead. The physical manifestation of how I've always lived in her shadow. I catch my reflection in the mirror, the same mirror where I practiced smiles after Madison told me my real one showed too much gum. I see myself clearly now, perhaps for the first time. The house key feels heavy in my palm. I place it on the dresser with deliberate care, the small sound it makes against the wood oddly final. "I'm not coming back here. You're invited." I tell my parents on the phone, but Madison is not welcome. The silence stretches so long I check to see if the call disconnected. "You can't exclude your sister." Dad's voice explodes finally. "Family comes first." The familiar guilt rises, then recedes like a tide I'm learning to predict. "Yes. I agree," my voice quiet. "Family should come first. Remember that next time you choose sides." I'm arranging seating cards at our kitchen table when Lucas strides in, his face tight with controlled anger. He places his phone in front of me. The screen displays an email from Ryan, his former business partner. "Lucas, Madison Wilson contacted me yesterday. Asked about investment opportunities, but spent most of the call fishing for information about you. Mentioned she'll be attending a special event soon. Thought you should know. My stomach drops. She's planning something for the wedding day." Lucas sits beside me, taking my hands in his. His thumbs trace calming circles on my palms. "We've prepared for this, Hannah. The venue has security. The guest list is locked. Let her try." I look at our carefully arranged seating cards, each one representing someone who genuinely supports us. For the first time in my life, I've created something Madison can't infiltrate or destroy. A smile forms on my lips, not the cautious one I've worn for years, a something new, determined, even dangerous. For once, I say, squeezing Lucas's hands, I'm 2 steps ahead of her. I stand before the full-length mirror in the bridal boutique's private room, barely recognizing the woman staring back at me. The wedding dress me-own design brought to life by skilled hands falls in elegant, clean lines against my body. Nothing extravagant or showy, just simple sophistication that feels authentically me. It's perfect, I whisper, running my fingers over the handcrafted beadwork at the waist, hundreds of tiny stitches I painstakingly sketched in my design notebook. My wedding planner, Diane, steps back with approving eyes. The venue overlooking the lake is secured. Small, intimate, just 30 guests, as requested. She pauses, lowering her voice. And security has been briefed with your sister's photo. The words hang in the air between us. 2 months ago, I would have felt a stabbing guilt at the thought of posting security to keep my own sister away. Now, I feel only a steady resolve. Today is about love, not drama. I say, more to myself than to Diane. My phone buzzes on the nearby table. Madison's name flashes across the screen for the 3rd time today. I silence it without answering, but not before noticing the voicemail notification. Later, alone in my car, I press play, steeling myself. Hannah. Madison's voice breaks with practiced emotion. You can't do this to me. I'm your sister. After everything we've been through together. The familiar manipulation continues, each word designed to crack my newfound strength. I delete it before she finishes. The text messages come next. A barrage of guilt wrapped in concern. Mom is crying every night because of you. Dad can hardly eat. Is this really what you want, Hannah? To tear our family apart? I set my phone down on the passenger seat, my hands steady. 6 months ago, these words would have sent me spiraling. Now they simply confirm I'm making the right choice. When Lucas calls that evening, I can hear the tension in his voice before he speaks. Madison showed up at my office today, he says. The grandfather clock in our hallway ticks loudly in the silence that follows. That familiar sound that once measured my suffering now merely counts the seconds until Lucas continues. What did she say? I ask, though that you've always been unstable when things go well, that I should be careful about marrying someone with your history of emotional problems. He pauses. She said she was just concerned about me. A hollow laugh escapes me. Madison. I had security escort her out, Lucas says, his voice warming. And I told her if she ever spoke about you like that again, we'd add slander to the cease and desist. That night, our wedding planner calls, her voice tense. Someone tried to cancel your cake order and flower arrangements. Claimed to be you. I close my eyes, unsurprised. Don't worry, she adds quickly. I've alerted all vendors. Nothing changes without in-person verification now. The next morning brings a call I've been expecting. My mother's voice comes through sharp and brittle. You're tearing this family apart, Hannah. Is that what you want? I watch the leaves on the maple tree outside my window dance in the autumn breeze, their edges beginning to turn golden red. I'm not tearing anything apart, Mom. I'm simply refusing to maintain a relationship that's harmful to me. If Madison isn't welcome at your wedding, your father and I won't come either. The ultimatum hangs between us. In the past, this would have been enough to make me crumble, to accept whatever terms kept the fragile peace. Instead, I feel an unexpected lightness. That's your choice to make. I've made mine. The shocked silence on the other end speaks volumes. She hadn't expected this response. As the wedding day approaches, support arrives from unexpected places. Lucas hires additional security without my asking. Design clients send cards with warm wishes. Lucas's business partners issue a joint statement reaffirming his integrity after anonymous concerns circulated in their industry. The morning of our wedding dawns clear and cool. I stand at the window of the bridal suite, overlooking the lake, watching early mist rise from the water's surface, when my planner appears at the door. Your parents are here, she says carefully. Just your parents. Something tightens in my chest, surprise. relief, a complex emotion I can't quite name. They chose to come after all, without Madison. When I walked down the aisle later that afternoon, I glimpsed them in the back row. Their faces are subdued, almost awkward, as if they're not quite sure how to behave in this new reality, where their youngest daughter has set terms they must accept rather than dictate. Lucas waits for me beneath an arch of autumn flowers, his eyes never leaving mine. As I join him, he takes my hands in his, squeezing them gently. Around us, my colleagues from the design world beam with genuine pleasure. Lucas's business partners nod respectfully at my father, who seems smaller somehow, less imposing than the man whose disapproval once shaped my every decision. My phone sits silent in my purse, Madison's increasingly desperate voicemails unheard. A mutual friend mentioned she seemed unraveled lately, her carefully constructed image of the perfect daughter beginning to show cracks. Her latest social media post plays the victim. Family abandonment hurts more than anyone can understand. But her words don't have power over me anymore. I choose you first, always, Lucas vows, his voice steady and sure as we exchange promises. Tears blur my vision, but unlike so many tears I've shed before, these hold nothing but joy, pure and untainted by family drama for the first time in my life. At the reception, my father approaches our table, his hands trembling slightly as he grasps the back of an empty chair. Madison told us things, he begins, his voice unusually hesitant. Things I'm starting to question. I meet his gaze evenly. I know exactly what she told you. From my clutch, I remove a small flash drive and place it in his hand. Here's the truth. It's your choice whether to see it. He stares at the small device, as if it might burn him, then closes his fingers around it with a nod. As he walks away, Lucas leans close. Are you okay? I watch my father rejoin my mother, showing her the flash drive with a solemn expression. Whatever happens next is their choice and not my burden to carry. Yes, I answer, surprising myself with how true it feels. For the first time in a very long time, I really am. The doorbell rings, its chime echoing through our new home, like an unwelcome reminder of the past. Through the frosted glass, I recognize Madison's silhouette, shoulders slightly hunched, head tilted in that practiced pose of vulnerability she's perfected over decades. Lucas squeezes my hand. You don't have to do this. I know. I smooth my cotton blouse, squared shoulders replacing my former instinct to shrink. But I do. When I open the door, Madison's eyes are already glistening with tears. 2 weeks of marital bliss have transformed me. But she looks diminished, somehow, designer clothes slightly rumpled. The confidence in her stance noticeably absent. Hannah. Her voice breaks perfectly on the second syllable. I had to see you. I step aside without embracing her. The Madison who appears in my living room is a masterclass. In control, devastation, tearful, but not messy. Vulnerable, but dignified. She perches on the edge of our sofa like a wounded bird. I was jealous. She looks up, a single tear tracking down her cheek. Always been jealous of you. The familiar pull of responsibility tugs at my chest. She's still my sister, the little girl who once held my hand crossing the street to school. I've been fired from Harrington Financial. Her voice drops to a whisper. Someone's sentence of inappropriate communications. Her eyes flick to mine, gauging my reaction. I don't know what I'm going to do. I remain standing, hands relaxed at my sides. That sounds difficult. Madison shifts tactics, her fingers tracing the edge of our coffee table. Mom and Dad are thinking of selling the house. They're so upset about everything. The unspoken accusation hangs in the air. Your fault. When I don't respond, she adds, Did you know I ran into Ryan last week? Lucas's old business partner had some interesting things to say. The grandfather clock in our hallway ticks steadily. My pulse doesn't quicken at her veiled threat. Not anymore. We used to be so close as children, Madison murmurs, producing a tissue from her purse. Remember how you'd read to me during thumbs? I walk to the kitchen, feeling her eyes track my movements. Would you like some tea? I call over my shoulder, my voice steady. Madison's confusion is evident when I return with 2 elegant porcelain cuffs wedding gifts from Lucas's aunt. She studies my face, searching for cracks in my composure. "Let me get something for you," I say, setting down her cup. Madison straightens, expression brightening, as I retrieve a document folder from my desk. Her fingers reach for it eagerly, anticipation replacing the manufactured sorrow in her eyes. But instead of the checkbook she clearly expects, I slide a single photograph across the table. Madison stares at it, momentarily puzzled. It shows us as children, me at 11, arm around 7-year-old Madison after she'd fallen from her bike. Her knee bleeding, my expression concerned as I comfort her. "I was never your enemy," I say quietly. "You created that all on." The calculated mask slips from Madison's face. She pushes the photo away. "What is this supposed to be? Some sentimental nonsense?" "It's a reminder, for both of us." Her eyes narrow. "If you think one old photo changes anything." I don't. I take a deliberate sip of tea. "But this might. I sent the evidence of your communications to Harrington Financial myself. That's why you were terminated." The color drains from Madison's face. "You wouldn't dare." "I also upgraded our cease and desist to potential legal action." My voice remains even, almost gentle. "I didn't have to destroy you, Madison. You did that yourself." She stands abruptly, teacup clattering against saucer. "Mom and Dad will never believe this. They know what you're like, always jealous, always competing." My phone rings. I check the screen and answer, putting it on speaker without breaking eye contact with Madison. "Hannah?" My father's voice sounds different, smaller somehow. "We watched the videos, read the emails. We had no idea." My mother's voice filters through, clearly crying. "All those years, why didn't you tell us?" I tried. The simple truth hangs between us. Now you do. What matters is to do next. I end the call. Madison's manufactured composure crumbles completely, replaced by raw fury. Her eyes, so like mine in color but nothing else, flash dangerously. "You've ruined everything," she hisses, no longer bothering with tears. "No." I meet her gaze steadily. "I just stopped letting you ruin me." Madison snatches her designer purse, storms toward the door, and slams it with enough force to rattle the windows. The sound echoes through our home and fades to silence. Lucas emerges from his office, having given me space while remaining close enough to intervene if needed. His arms encircle me from behind, and I lean back against his chest, exhaling slowly. "It's really over," I whisper, my voice steady despite emotion tightening my throat. Later that evening, I carefully placed my childhood photo albums into storage boxes. Lucas watches from the doorway as I keep just one picture, not of Madison, but of my younger self at art camp, paintbrush in hand, eyes bright with possibility. A reminder, I explain, of who I was and who I chose to become. Lucas kisses my temple. "What do you think about the lake house? The one we looked at last month. It's a good distance from everything." I consider this, tracing the frame of the photograph. "Distance isn't running away," I say finally. "It's creating space for peace." 6 months later, an envelope arrives, bearing my parents' return address. I hold it, feeling its weight in my hands. Lucas watches silently as I hesitate, then carefully tear it open. Inside, a handwritten note from my father. "We've asked Madison to get help. We should have done this years ago." I place the note on our kitchen counter, my emotions too complex to name. Morning sunlight spills across the polished hardwood floors of our Tahoe lake house, casting long golden rectangles that warm my bare feet. I stand in my design studio, fingers tracing the edge of my drafting table as I gaze out at the water sapphire blue, and utterly still, this early hour. The contrast between this serene space and the chaos of my childhood home sometimes stops me in my tracks. "They confirmed Tokyo," Lucas says, appearing in the doorway, coffee mug in hand. His smile carries the quiet confidence I've come to rely on. "That's 4 international offices now: London, Sydney, Berlin, and Tokyo." I nod, thinking of how far we've both come. My latest hotel design portfolio sits open on my desk, the renderings for the project that just won the Henderson Award. From anyone else, "I'm so proud of you," would sound like platitude. But when Lucas says it, the words carry weight. I still hear Madison's voice sometimes, "Who would hire you for a luxury project?" But it's growing fainter. The standing ovation at the awards ceremony last month nearly drowned it out completely. The restaurant I've chosen to meet my parents sits precisely halfway between their home and minute-neutral territory. I spot them through the window, my father's silver hair catching the light, my mother fidgeting with her napkin. They look smaller somehow, uncertain. This meeting was their request, not mine. "We let you down," my father says after the awkward greetings and small talk about the unseasonably warm weather. His hands, once so imposing to me, tremble slightly around his water glass. "We ignored what Madison was doing for too long." My mother's eyes glisten. "We didn't do right by you, Hannah, and I regret it." The admission hangs between us. A year ago, I would have rushed to smooth things over, to forgive immediately and make it easier for everyone. The old Hannah, desperate for crumbs of parental approval. Instead, I take a slow sip of water, considering my words. "I appreciate that," I say finally, my voice steady. "Trust will take time." They nod, exchanging glances. "We can build a new relationship," I continue. "But it will be different." The relief that washes over their faces surprises me. They weren't expecting immediate forgiveness, but seem grateful for the chance. Later that week, I sit cross-legged on the floor of Dr. Myers's office, paintbrush in hand. The canvas before me blooms with colors I wouldn't have dared use before, bold reds and deep purples. My therapy sessions have become a sanctuary, Lucas giving me the space to do this work alone, while remaining steadfastly supportive. Forgiveness isn't for them. I write in my journal that evening. It's for me. Our lake house fills with laughter during the small gathering. We host genuine friends whose connections don't come with conditions. To Hannah, Ryan toasts, Lucas's business partner, raising his glass, without whom none of our success would have been possible. My old design mentor catches my eye across the room. "You found your voice," she says quietly. The young woman at my first workshop clutches her portfolio, eyes bright with unshed tears. "Your story helped me set boundaries with my own family," she tells me, and I feel something shift and settle inside me. "Our stories can become stepping stones for others," I reply, my smile genuine. Madison's letter sits unopened on my desk for days. When I finally read it on the deck overlooking the lake, the admission of jealousy doesn't surprise me. No explanation could justify the pain she caused, but the acknowledgement matters in ways I hadn't expected. My response is measured. Firm boundaries. No blind forgiveness. If we rebuild anything, it will be on my terms. I seal the envelope, but place it in my desk drawer instead of the mailbox. I'm giving myself time to be certain. The sunset turns the lake to fire as Lucas joins me on our dock. "Are you okay?" he asks. The question simple but laden with understanding. I look out at the horizon, feeling the gentle weight of his hand in mine. For the first time in my life, I say, "I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be."